to say this, and I'll leave it to sort of Taylor, and we'll discuss it here, and then Demario Davis will be on in a bit. I just want to say about the Dolphins, I'm not giving up on this team. I am a believer in Tua. I'm a believer in Mike McDaniel, the energy, the new leadership, the culture change. I'm a believer in what they're doing. I have faith. The facts are, though, what they are. That's not a but, it's just true. And there's forewarning about, they're 0-3 against teams with winning records. You can only lose on your special. I don't want to hear it. Kind of like what I just talked about with the Cowboys. A little tough love from Miss Adams this morning. They're going to have to go out there and win a big game.
Like old times, a pass to Tyreek Hill leads to a Chiefs touchdown, where the Dolphins exposed in the process.
Tyreek's prophecy was proven correct. So if we may please drop Tyreek's banner. Yeah, I'll tell you what it says. Tyreek gave the Chiefs that
my
word.
hardest.
You're trying your, I appreciate it, Wilds. There it is. Good job, Kevin Wilds. Tyreek did, in fact, give the Chiefs that word.
Miami is just, I'm done with Miami. I'm not picking them to beat a team that's good until I see it. I'm done with that. They're just beating up on the poor in the NFL.
I see a defense that leads the league in quarterback hits that now has Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey on the back end. There's that dude Van Ginkel's all over the lot. Chubb is all over the lot. Wilkins is all over the lot. Phillips is all over the lot. They've got serious players on defense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what Dolphin fans want us to do, because all I know is when they play somebody that's on their level,
Right.
they're over and they average 39. I mean, 17. But when they play someone that they can run over, they're averaging 39 points.
Miami 0-3 against teams, winning teams. Listen, I don't like that one bit, but I'm not going to go as far as saying they're pretenders. And here's the reason why. When your offense is that explosive, you can have off days, and this is the deal. They got annihilated by Buffalo. They got annihilated. Okay, they went down 21-0, came back, lost 21-14. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, Tyreek Hill doesn't drop. Tyreek Hill dropping a touchdown pass, a surefire touchdown pass. I mean, that's an aberration. So when I look at it from that perspective, and then I combine that with the fact that you went into a playoff game in Buffalo in inclement weather last year with Skylar Thompson as your quarterback and lost 34-31. I know a loss is a loss. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not looking for any moral victory. But when I say pretender, that means I am not worried about you in the slightest of really disrupting the apple cart and really knocking off some of the elite teams.
Is it time to question the Dolphins' legitimacy?
I know it's tough, Joanne. It's just tough for me, A-Block.
It's Groundhog Day. Yeah, it is. I mean, I got to do my job, right? I got to do my job. You beat bad teams, really, really bad, just
Smack them around.
and then you lose pretty convincingly
Yes.
to the good teams. It's almost like you're getting garbage time points or something. Now, I don't want to go that far because these are NFL teams that you're playing and beating and putting up the 70 points. That's only ever happened one other time. Fine. But go beat the big teams. And what's frustrating about it is we've seen Tua do it. We've seen Tua beat great teams. We've seen him have comeback performances. So you're capable of it. You have the pieces. You have an MVP candidate in Tyreek Hill. You have the #1 offense in the league. So your defense actually played well. The defense, which we've been questioning throughout the whole season, has been showing up lately. So what is the issue?
Well, some of the criticism is more than valid. The Dolphins have not been able to, to pull the big win. So I want to start with our resident Swiftie, Steve. Can the Dolphins shake it off?
Oh, God. I know my wife is listening right now, and I'm sure she just got a kick out of that one. So, hi, Sherry. I'll give another shout out to her, and I don't know what the hell his name is on General Hospital, but Stephen A. Smith, and the guy Waffles. Yes, he's an actor on General Hospital. I don't get it. But in any case, he waffles.
Mike Scheller first. No.
I don't know. That's enough. But he flip-flops so much. And again, it's sensationalism across every single one of those people. They can say one thing one day, they can Colin Cowherd the next, and nobody's ever going to hold them to task because they've got millions of people out there that follow them and listen to them on a daily, and they're multimillionaires for a reason. But I know, and I'm sticking to the clips here. I know where I was when I was driving Monday morning and I was listening to PFT Live on SiriusXM radio, and I know exactly where I was when Chris Sims said that he was done with the Dolphins and he's not going to pick them anymore, because that's when I flipped the dial and I said, I'm not listening to that anymore today. I was right by Tampa
We're
Airport
so
on my way.
sad.
Oh, whatever. Chris Sims, seriously, dude. Just pull up one of your clips of you getting totally berated by John Gruden because you couldn't call one of his play calls. But yeah, again, we have yet to see one of these teams, the elite teams, and I might be bringing on some bad juju to the team here. I don't know. We have yet to see one of these top teams on our own turf in Hard Rock Stadium. What's it like when those top teams come to Miami? We've had opportunities to go into Buffalo, into Philly, into Frankfurt / Kansas City, and play on the road. But the more we talk, you guys are backing me off. You've backed me off the ledge. My wife has been telling me since Sunday. She's like, it's really not that bad. We only gave up 14 offensive points, and she's right. You know, you guys are helping me realize that it's time to move on. We have Devon Achane coming back. We have other players that are going to be coming back. We have some players that are a little bit banged up. Knock on wood. This is the healthiest I can remember us being 8 games, 9 games, 10 games into the season. So with a very, very, very advantageous bye-week placement this year. So I'm ready for us to go out, play the Raiders, see what they're going to bring, when they come into town, and then see where we're going to land over the next few weeks leading into a very tough end of our schedule.
So I'm gonna go to you, Matt. We've seen the Dolphins had some late season collapses in the last decade, to be honest. You know, I expect this team to be different, but I want to know your opinion about that.
Yeah, for the record, November 7th, 2023, at about 8:40 p.m., Steve Hallett admitted that he watches General Hospital. I don't know what that's about, but I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I don't watch it.
Anyway,
my wife, whatever.
So, anyways, the what was the question again?
Stop feeding into him.
Sorry.
You encourage him.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have to cut that out from the feature video.
No.
I'm sorry, please go ahead, man.
Listen, I am right on the verge of having one of those hysterical laughing fits. Anyways, so the Dolphins have had a history, and I can go all the way back to the beginning of the Patriots dynasty. I can remember, and you guys, I know you remember the snowball game. Dolphins backed up in their own end zone, and somehow, some way, I don't even want to continue the story because you guys know what I'm talking about. And it was really the beginning of the Patriots dynasty. And then we've got this drought through the last, pretty much for the last 15, 17 years. And, in the advent of social media, especially on Twitter, there's this thing called In the Hunt. And the Dolphins have been in the hunt for so long. And it's so annoying not because the In the Hunt is annoying. It's just, can you just run 12-4 one time in our existence? I remember those days. I know you can do it. So yeah, there is a history of it, and it's disappointing. Sunday was highly disappointing. I understand that I might be the silver lining. The cup is always half full on this team, but it's certainly disappointing. We got to shake it off. Steve alluded to the fact that it's the healthiest that we've been coming into this part of the season. You got Achane coming back. He was raising hell for the first 4 games of the season. And let's not forget that has been kind of plucked out of the equation there. So there's a major facet of the offense that's been removed. Is it 21-14 on Sunday if Achane's playing? I don't know. Probably not. So shake it off. Absolutely. Shake it off. Get to the break here. Heal up more like we talked about in pre-production, and let's go. Let's go Raiders.
I probably that this show is based on the power. I always say the power of positivity. We don't like to put anybody down or not the players down, but to be honest, it was so frustrating every time Asian touched the ball and he sunk like a stone. I like why it was not with some playing. Just because if Asian was playing, you know he would not go down like that. It was really really frustrating every single time. I don't know, Jared. I don't know why he's still. Why don't I still don't get why Wilson is not higher on the depth chart. I digress. I'm gonna go to you, Eddie. Why are you so kind of Dolphins shake it off?
I think they'll do a good job of putting it in the rearview mirror. It's not like it was like it was before. Um, Before we would already the wheels would have been coming off.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. They would have. We would have lost to one of them bad teams that everybody keeps saying that's all we're beating. Like
The same teams
like
that other teams had not been able to beat. So
like
because
every
Buffalo could
other
not beat the Patriots,
yes,
and the Chiefs could not beat the Denver, and the Eagles could not beat who was it?
the Jets, I
The
think.
Jets. So
Yeah, who cannot get out of their own way, which was proved last night when
yeah,
they played one of the worst
that
defenses in
was
the NFL, the
horrible.
Chargers. That was the worst football game I think I tried to watch ever. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Um, no, that it's I don't know. I have a good feeling going forward. I really thought they were going to beat the Chiefs until Sunday morning before kickoff. I don't know what happened. Then everything just switched. I
Same
think we
here.
all talked. I think we all talked about that
Yeah, we talked about it.
before. I
I
was
felt
like,
so
everything
confident.
changed as soon as it was like 9 o'clock, and I was like,
Yeah,
I'm nervous now. But
yeah.
anyways, it's different this year. They're going to get players back. It really hurts that Wynn is, from what McDaniel said today, Isaiah Wynn is not more than likely not coming back. That is going to hurt him. I
That's the
wish. I wish Lamb. I wish they would maybe try him at guard because Hunt will be back. He'll be fine. That really hurt not having him in. But going forward, he'll be back, and I'm sure Waddle really needed this week of rest because he's been banged up on different spots. First drive injuries all year long for us. I felt so bad for Robert Jones coming back. You could see how upset he was. He
He
wasn't
wanted to
playing
play.
bad. He was playing pretty well, but then we had Cotton and Eichenberg in there, and that's kind of started falling apart. But they'll get healthy. They're going to be fine moving forward. I I think they can hold off the Bills to win this division this year.
Yeah, the Bills defense is really missing Mike McDaniel. So you can see this they're not the same defense at all. But still very frustrating game.
Yes.
Very frustrating season so far because as again the first series of the game, a key player goes down. It was Armstead the first time, win the second one, then Water. Here we goes again. The wheels are coming off again. Here we go, and then we start going behind and like okay, same game. But for some reason, it didn't feel like the same game. The Dolphins were not never in the okay. We're gonna win this game, but you can feel that no, something is not right. Something's gonna happen. And if the Dolphins had more time, they probably could have won the game. That fumble was key. That was basically a 14 or 10 point swing. But the sky is not. We like to say over here, the sky is not falling.
Right.
Dolphins probably is if they pick too early, it's bad. If they pick, they never pick is awful. But I think Armstead said something about that kind today that this team has not picked yet. And if they truly believe it, that's huge. Matt, I'm sorry, Steve. Any last thoughts on Doctor Steve had it?
I don't think they've peaked yet, which is a positive. I remember last year, and I had to look it up just to be sure. I call it like my own personal. I think we all feel it, this battered Dolphin syndrome of seasons past where we've started really really well. They said the last time the Dolphins started 7-2 was 2000, and I look back, I'm like, what the hell happened that year? We were 8-3 last year, 8-3, and then went on a slide that started in San Fran of 5 games, and then we limped our way into the playoffs with defensive backfield that they're probably bagging groceries or something right now. I don't think we've peaked early. I don't take anything for granted. I really need to start enjoying what we're experiencing a lot more on Sundays, regardless of tight losses like that. But definitely the things are looking up, and looking forward to hopefully the team getting healthy, coming back, and really staying healthy, because we really need it going into the hard stretch we have coming up.
Absolutely. So next we're gonna do some Fins TV overreaction. Actually, can Mike McDaniel can't win the big one. We will see so many coaches that being accused of never cannot be the big one until they do. George Schaefer, Tony Dungy, even Hall of Fame coaches had. Don Shula, for once, they were said they could not be the big one. Mike McDaniel, I'm gonna keep saying it. I love the guy, great man. I'm very happy he's our coach, but I keep having some reservations about him. I cannot understand why we have penalties and club management issues just after a timeout. That's coaching. There's no other way to say it. Of course, the players had to execute. That's true. But if you're coming off the timeout, you cannot have a false start or illegal whatever. That's it can happen. That's management. That's coaching. Either like then it has to simplify the offense when we're on the road, or something needs to be done. So I'm gonna start with you, Steve. Ken, our reaction. I'm gonna say first. It's not a reaction. Mike McDaniel is able to beat the big one, but he needs to be adjusted. But I will start with you, Steve.
He can win the big one. He just, I mean, I don't know, define big one. You know, we beat the Chargers week 1 on the road. It turned into a shootout last year. We were down how many points against the Ravens, and I consider that to be a big one when Tua came back 6 touchdowns into a game, and one of the most electrifying outcomes that I can remember probably since the Miami Miracle, and then probably the Camarillo catch against God to keep us from going winless. But I do think that McDaniel gets in his own head way too much when it comes down to big games, and I don't understand it. I don't. You hit the nail on the head. Clock management. My wife and I were sitting on the edge of the couch screaming at the TV as they're in the huddle with 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. They clap their hands and then they get up to the offensive line and they get themselves shifted. Claypool's going the wrong way, so they point to him the other way. He goes over there. Before you know it, there's 4 seconds left. Tua doesn't even have a chance to evaluate what the defense is doing, flip his hand like this so Tyreek can get out of his little crouch and shoot out really quickly and get the ball off as quickly as possible. I don't know, and I think part of it is it happens at home too. So you can't say it's everything, but when they're in a hostile environment where the crowd noise is bad, Tua's not hearing it quickly enough. He's not able to communicate in the huddle enough. He gets up there, he's got to be on a silent count. I don't know. The NFL can probably, I'm sure Steve Ross can, foot the bill for everybody on the team and the offense to get some little Beats headphones or something like that to put in their helmets and blare screaming into their ears so they can learn how to do this stuff in a hostile environment. I don't know. But I think in a game of Titans, the small details matter. Mike McDaniel can coach a team to win big games, not a single big game, but big games. And I think he's going to have those opportunities and he is going to execute on them. But it's not, the NFL isn't the place for on the job training. He needs to hopefully pick up on things, stop getting away from the run game. We talked about it many times earlier this season, before the season even started, the 60-40 run-pass ratio thing. And when Achane was in there, he was actually running 50-50. Maybe it seemed like a little bit more. He's moved away from that. And I think that that's just his tendency to go to the pass and rely on it. When end of the game, Mostert breaks off 2 big ones because the Chiefs are expecting him to pass. They were expecting him to pass there on 3rd down. Why not bust one out there? But in any case, I digress.
And Monster run those plays are said to be run because Monster went to the coach and said we need to run behind turn on answer to the side. They cannot stop it, and it worked. But definitely, Mike McDaniel sometimes even too smart for himself. So I'm gonna go to you, Matt. Overreaction. Mike McDaniel can't win the big one.
There's so much overreaction that's happening right now amongst us, amongst fans, amongst the media. And I find it a bit ironic. Shannon Sharp said in that clip you showed in the last segment, he literally said when they're playing teams that they're even with, wait, did you just admit that the Dolphins are even with the Chiefs, with the Eagles, with the Bills? Okay, because you can't flip flop on your narrative. You got to stick to what your narrative. Pick a lane and stay in it. Are people overreacting? Absolutely. Mike McDaniel, he's won 6 games this year out of 9. I'll take those. I'll take those numbers. Today is November 7th. I think we still have 2 months to go in this season. Today is November 7th. Let's have this same question on December 7th, the first week of December. Let's have the same conversation on something to allude to it. I am not going to say it because of my superstitious nature. But we were 8-3 last year, and then the wheels came off. We all know why the wheels came off. That not been an issue. This team is getting healthy at the right time. Are people overreacting? Yeah. And take a look at the ledge that we're on, guys. Step back. Take a deep breath. It's not that bad. I've said this, it seems like I've said this after every loss. What place are they in? First. Where are the Bills? Not in first. Overreaction? Yeah.
That can be the big one. Overreaction.
Oh, major overreaction, especially from you, Sammy. Especially from you.
He's going to edit that out.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, it's an overreaction. Like I said, like McDaniel said to Barry Jackson, who I finally saw McDaniel get mad at him. He said, uh, he said, well, why didn't you run for the third time? And McDaniel said, what if we lost 3 yards? And then you'd be asking me, well, we just ran the ball twice. Why didn't you go to a pass? Instead, they would have been expecting the run again for the third straight time. Yeah, I think it's an overreaction for people to think he can't win the big game. I mean, we have not played a big game at home. Steve alluded to that earlier. Let's see what happens at home. False starts, I do not put on coaching. False starts are on players. Completely on mental breakdowns of a player who knows when to go. And between that and lining up offside sometimes on defense, that drives me nuts. I'll take a holding call over a pre-snap penalty any time of the day, especially if you're trying to save your quarterback from getting killed. Grab the guy, throw him, grab him by the face mask. I don't care. But pre-snaps, they kill drives, but that's not on coaching. You can only coach a guy up so much, and you got to put it on him. And that's just my point on McDaniel. I think he's fine. It's his second year. The players should know this offense by now. They have to be blaring music in the bubble or whatever they're doing. It's just things happen sometimes. And these other teams, look at the Bills. They did not look very good at the Bengals. Josh Allen looked like an average quarterback the other night. He really did to me. God, was it Collinsworth calling that game? Because my God, I thought he was going to go down to the locker room and hug him even after the loss. It was disgusting. But no, McDaniel's fine. He's going to win the big games, and he's going to win them this year. And then, Sam, I'm going to call you on that later this year.
Oh, I want you to be right.
I know you want me to.
I wish he would have won the Green Bay game and the Buffalo game and the 49ers game. And
well,
and
the Green Bay game, I don't even think Green Bay Tua
I
remembers the second half.
I was in that game, and after Tua got hit, I said, he got hit, he got a concussion. No one said he got a concussion, but afterwards.
And then San Francisco won how many games after they got McCaffrey in a row?
I want to check that stat because last year, every single team that played the 49ers lost the week after. That's why I'm crossing my fingers on that Ravens game. So hopefully
Yeah.
that works this year. So next, Matt had to leave us. He had the previous engagement. Tua, our reaction, Tua proves his career is wrong. His career is right. I'm sorry. Tua proves his career is right. We are talking about overreaction, way overreaction about this on Twitter, on everywhere about Tua. Some pundits even say he was scared. That reason that why he fumbled that last snap because he was scared. That's the stupidest thing I've seen stupid things this season. That probably the worst. Uh, yeah, that's a whole reaction. That's the same guy that the week before was a leading candidate for MVP. Sorry, that if you're gonna hate on Tua, you're gonna hate no matter what. You're gonna look for the first thing that he doesn't do the way you want him to do, and you're gonna say that he sucks. So I'm gonna go to YouTube. Steve, our reaction to Tua proof his career is right.
I don't no, I don't think he proved his critics right at all. I think at times he hasn't proved his critics wrong because when you get into those hostile on the road environments and against the top teams, you have to be able to put up better numbers. But we know that the rubric or the grading scale that they're going to put these quarterbacks again isn't the same. If Tua, since his entrance into the league, led the league in interceptions or turnovers the way that Josh Allen has, would he be getting the same treatment? Would he be on the cover of Madden this year? No. But I mean, I think that again, these types of games, people like to shift way too much focus away from the fact that he is the leading quarterback in the NFL in many, many statistics. They like to very quickly show to say, ignore all that and just focus on a bad snap. A couple really, really, really ugly throws. He was off his game. I don't know if
Yeah,
when he's on the road, if I know the NFL has a sponsorship with Sleep Number beds, and all the NFL players get him. Maybe he misses his bed. Maybe he has a favorite breakfast that his wife cooks for him, or maybe he has a favorite ride on his way to the office at Hard Rock Stadium on Sundays, or something like that. Something about being on the road. He just doesn't always play the same way on the road. But I don't think he proved his critics right. Not at all. He's still in he's shown resilience to not go out and make the same mistakes. He's got a coach who clearly, as Rich Eisen and Dan Orlovsky and everybody were gushing, a coach that absolutely truly believes in him, and they're not going to take this game and just say, it didn't matter. They're going to come back better in 2 weeks, much better than they were in Frankfurt. So no.
absolutely. So I'm gonna do the overreaction. Tua proof his career is right.
I've never seen bias against a quarterback like there is against Tua. I do not know what it is. I do not get the hate for him. If you put his stats against anybody else's, they're right up there with anybody. Now, like I was complaining about Collinsworth and loving Josh Allen the other night, I just didn't get it. His stats are way better than Josh Allen's. He's got more yardage. He has, well, one more touchdown. He has less interceptions. Yeah, Allen's completing a higher percentage, but he's not throwing the deep ball anymore. He's getting the ball out because he's not doing very well on a deep pass. But he went the Mahomes. Did they complain about the way he played against Miami? Because he didn't play that good after the first drive. There's something against Tua, and I wish I could figure it out. I don't know what it is. He'll be fine. Steve's right. I rewatched that play where they said Cedric Wilson might have ran the wrong route. That ball came out of his hand like, I don't know. There was something like grease was on the football because it looked like it slid out of his hand. He didn't plant like he does and throw it because if he does, that game is tied. He throws it. Wilson's catching it. By the way, Wilson has really impressed me the last 3 weeks. He has caught everything.
Yeah.
So, but you can see somebody. I don't know if you guys saw it. showing between last year and this year, his passes to Hill, where he was throwing behind Hill all the big plays last year. Now Hill's having to catch up to the ball. It's awesome. He's making strides. He's a very good quarterback, and he gets hate. It's an overreaction that he's proving his critics right. Who are these critics? They're washed up has-beens that never won anything.
The worst critics are people inside our own fan base. If you go to
Oh
some
yeah,
of
that's for sure.
that is it's amazing. Okay, they can't wait to bash the guy. He's your
Yeah.
quarterback. If you can,
And Mike,
you're not gonna find anyone better, no matter what.
Mike
There's no way you can go outside this year and find someone better.
My dad has a theory on Dolphin fans. Some of the big critic ones. It's that they're not really Dolphin fans. They're still New York fans or up north fans. That's what is, and they just watch Miami all the time because they're down here now. But that's his. We're from New York, but we are full on Dolphin fans. So
I have a similar kind of theory since we're talking about that. There's been a whole generation that doesn't know what the winning Dolphins football is. They just don't. They
Yeah.
haven't seen Dolphins winning football in a whole generation. Kids at 17, 18, they might be fans of any other team because they have won. Even Patriots fans. That's the reality. The other thing I want to talk going to what you said, Patrick Mahomes complained so much during that game. He was whining and complaining every single play, looking for a call. It was pathetic. You're the best player in the world. Get the F out of here.
So bad.
Everything.
That
So
was
bad.
such a bad look. You're the best player in the world, and you keep complaining every single play. That's absurd. That was pathetic.
That wasn't even close to a late hit out of bounds.
No,
If
of
that
course
def-
not.
if that defender gives himself up right there, he goes forward and gets another 10
Yeah.
yards, and the defender looks like an idiot.
And they praise Mahomes for tightrope walking down and getting them more yards. We've seen it a million times, and Dan Orlovsky could not stop talking about how it was such a late hit. They brought Gene Steratore or whoever the hell the NFL Network's person on there to talk about it. His foot hadn't even touched the out of bounds yet.
Right.
I'm glad they plowed through him. I hope more people start doing that to quarterbacks where they're able to time it right. And every now and then get a 15-yard penalty flag for doing it good, because if you don't, they will tightrope walk and they'll get that extra yards and they'll get the praise.
Exactly. In the
Amen.
same game, Tua slid. They hit him while he was down. Tua didn't complain, but they didn't. Nobody said a word about that. He was down. He gave himself up. The guy piled right on top of him. Nothing. He didn't complain.
Since we're talking about that, there was a play where Tua was backwards to the play. Someone pushed a Chiefs player and it fell on his back, and he said to the ref, "Was it laterally hit?" And the ref just laughing in his face. What the hell was that?
Yes.
What the hell was that? That was so many things we can complain. We're still left again, so we're gonna move on. That's the never-ending story. Is the next question? The next overreaction. The never-ending story. The Dolphins are frauds. Overreaction. The Dolphins are frauds. Here we go again with the Dolphins are frauds. Same thing every single time. That's simply absurd. The Dolphins are not frauds, but what are we gonna do? I'm gonna go first, Steve. The Dolphins frauds. Right, overreaction.
This is the biggest overreaction, and I'm not going to have it. We held the defending Super Bowl champs to 14 offensive points. 14 offensive points in a hostile environment. Saw somebody else put out there just one of those cute little things saying we gave up, I don't know, how many did we lose by Buffalo? 28, and then 14 to the Eagles, and now 7 to the Chiefs. So next time, what are we going to tie or something against one of these elite teams? We are not frauds. And anybody, it's just the overreaction. It's the sensationalism, negative sells, negative Dolphins fan base we just talked about. Some of the biggest critics of our team are the people who go very, very quiet when we dominate a game. They're the first ones to say, "Well, it was an easy team." Those are our own fans.
Yes.
But and we're one, again, said it earlier, one fumble and pick up, scoop, whatever, return for 6 away from it being 14-0 at half, and we come out and we tie it. Who knows what happens? Maybe if he doesn't fumble that, they go down the field, score before halftime, get the ball back, and then we just proceed on. We just don't know what happens. But the defense is legit. Eddie, you said it earlier. Chubb, he has emerged. He's starting to play an amazing game, and I'm here for it. We're a 6-3 team. We're leading the AFC East, one of the toughest divisions. Really, there's no slouches here other than Patriots. So we're not frauds, not at all.
How about you, Eddie? Our reaction to the Dolphins are frauds.
They're they are far from frauds. I said this a month ago. I'll say it again. If they're frauds, everybody's frauds. Everybody's now on the Ravens bandwagon. Who did the Ravens lose to? They lost to Pittsburgh, who how they're 5-3, I'll never know. And then they lost to the Colts. So, they're not frauds. The Bills have lost 4 games. Miami has lost 3. The only thing Bills fans and the media wants to talk about is the Bills beat the Dolphins. Well, here's your "We beat the Dolphin" banner. Go hang it, because that's the only banner you're ever going to have. I'm just so sick of this stuff. It's ridiculous. No, they're not frauds. If there's not a team out there that's playing that good. The Eagles, yeah, you can bring the Eagles and their band of merry refs with them because they screwed Dallas the other day, and that's hard to believe because Dallas usually gets all the calls. But that was some more bad refereeing in that game. And boy, look at that. The Eagles had another tough game at home. I know they have to play them on the road, but no, not frauds. Everybody's a fraud if the Dolphins are a fraud.